All right, folks, I'm looking forward to sharing this one with you guys. We're going to be interviewing a representative here from Caleb and Brown, Jim Bazzani, the head of partners at Caleb and Brown. And this is a new exchange affiliate that I have set up, one of many community resources available at zachrector.com or linked up down below. But we want to get to know this exchange, what makes them unique and different from any other exchange out there. And then we got some questions as far as how are we going to be able to execute some of our trading strategies with this platform this coming bull run. XRP's on the move. The excitement is back. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks, Zach. Thanks for having me on board and excited to chat today. And yeah, it's an exciting time in the market, isn't it? It's a great time to chat.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to my community because that's where I heard about your guys' platform from. Is everybody in my community kept on telling me, yo, you need to check out Caleb and Brown. You got to see what's going on here. And then when I met Jake Boyle in Vegas last year, he was telling me, yeah, man, you got to get set up with us. We already got many people, that say they love your work. And so here we are. We're finally getting caught up to speed with you guys. I really appreciate you hooking up our community. I know that we've already sent a good wave over there, and I anticipate that we'll be sending a lot more people your way. And once again, you're offering unique in this space. I want to hone down on that. So to get started here, can you tell folks how long has Caleb and Brown been around for?
Yeah, so we've been around since 2016, which in the crypto space is quite a long time. And a lot of the executive team that are still part of the team today were the first few employees that actually started within the business. And so what we provide, and I'll just provide a bit of a download in terms of what we do at Caleb and Brown, is we're a cryptocurrency brokerage. So we actually offer a brokerage model similar to what you see in the share markets or the equity markets, where any customer that signs up with us actually gets their own dedicated broker who's essentially there to help hold their hand throughout whatever part of the crypto journey they're in, whether they're a beginner or they're a seasoned veteran in the space. So it's quite unique in that space in terms of the fact you get your own sort of personalized service and white glove solution.
Yeah.
But we've been around for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. In the crypto world, that's pretty good runway.
It's
Now, can you describe your position at Caleb and Brown and what you've been up to for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned before, I'm the head of partnerships here. So I really act as the intermediary between yourself and the Zach Rector community and our brokerage team. So essentially how it works is any customer that actually signs up through the Zach Rector community, we make sure at the other end that our brokers are giving them the best experience possible. And in another way as well, if there's any support questions or your community has any issues, they can always reach out to their broker and we can facilitate that through this partnership. Another big thing that's really prevalent on our platform is we're always looking to ways to build out added functionality and technology. So the key example I give is most recently we added the feature for DCA. If that's part of what the Zach Rector community requires or something they want on the platform that we don't currently offer, I'd be able to work with our product team to ensure it gets built, to ensure it's a better user experience at the end of the day for the community. So that's really what I do. I act as a bit of an intermediary and have a bunch of different touch points throughout the business. But at the end of the day, the core value that I provide is ensuring that communities and partners like yourself get the best service possible through Caleb and Brown.
Awesome. And I want to ask to point to anybody on your team in particular that really stands out. And I want to mention to the audience, if you go to Caleb and Brown, their website, there's a meet the team section and they got the C-suite, they got the engineers, they got everybody up there, they got Jim up there. And I want to comment, I look across the board here. One, you guys are all incredibly good looking people. And I also noticed that a lot of people are young. I saw maybe a couple people that look like they were over 40 years old. So can you comment on, basically some of the team members that you have and what they bring as far as experience? And like I said, plenty of good looks over there, but can you speak to that a little bit for us?
Firstly, thank you for the compliment. I'll make sure that gets back to our team. I'm sure they'll love that one. But yeah, you're totally right. We've very much emphasized transparency in everything that we do, and that includes the people that work here. It's fair to say that we have incredibly smart people here that work at Caleb and Brown, but you can go on our website, as you mentioned, you can actually see all the way from our CEO down to an account manager that's just joined recently. We really value that in the way that we represent ourselves to the market and that we're fully transparent in what we do. And that unlike most platforms and experiences that you get in crypto, which is anonymous, and in some ways that's great, what we do as a service is we're all about personalized experience to ensure that you can actually see who you work with. So that's something that we really emphasize, and I highly encourage anyone listening in to have a look at the team. In terms of some of the key people that have shaped the way the business is to what it is today, I would say it's probably hard to go past our CEO, Jackson. You're right, a lot of our executive team are still quite young, but have been in the crypto space for a very long time. And Jackson was the very first employee of Caleb & Brown back in 2016. And he's really driven the strategic direction of the business and the culture around consumer protection, personalized service, education for our customers as well. And that's really been embedded top down throughout our organization. And then, what he does sort of now on a day-to-day basis is really more the regulatory and legal side of things. What we're starting to see within the US and Australia particularly is new laws and regulations and clarity around crypto. I know that obviously XRP is currently, has gone through a difficult time in terms of that with Gary Gensler and the SEC rulings. So his day-to-day stuff now is really around, the new legislation and regulations that come out, let's make sure that they're actually created in a way to protect the consumer and make sure that it's beneficial for the space over the long term. So that's what he's really focused on day to day, which ultimately as a crypto business is really valuable for what we do.
Yeah. And on your website, you guys are touting some 30,000 clients. And I wanted to see if that's the correct number or if maybe we need to update that milestone. And then I also wanted to ask you, how do you guys provide such individual customized service to so many clients around the world when it appears, your team is young, lean, and I'm sure very strong, but how do you guys do it?
Yeah, so that 30,000 number is correct. It's definitely gone up a few more thousand over the last couple of weeks, that's for sure, just with the headwinds and the market activity in the space. But yeah, it's a great question. It's something that we very much make sure that we are operationally efficient, not only within Australia, where most of our organization is headquartered, but we have a presence in the US as well, which means that not only are we correctly servicing both ends of the spectrum, but it means that when our brokers do sleep in Australia, that their books and their clients are always well looked after and that trades can still get executed. What I would say in terms of we are lean and mean, but being young is actually a benefit. Everyone that works here is incredibly passionate about crypto, has been in it for such a long time. And at the end of the day, it's a super rewarding role to actually be able to help onboard new people to the space, but also help those that have been in the space for a long time as well. So what I would say is that it's as simple as we work incredibly hard here, and our brokers, I hope they don't mind me saying, some of them have done 10 to 13 days straight in a row just now because it's such a crazy time in the market. But we're so mature as a business that we've been through bull markets and bear markets. So when it is a time like this and every customer wants to get into the space or there's new clients wanting to purchase crypto, we make sure we prioritize that and ensure that we provide a very personalized experience over a long period of time.
Yeah. Well, now that we have memes on the XRP ledger, I'm starting to understand the lingo in this meme culture. And so, when I saw your team and you guys got a bunch of youngins, I thought, okay, this is good because you guys will be in the trenches with us. That's what they say in the meme spaces, that we're in the trenches, right?
The trenches.
Yeah. So, I appreciate that, but let's hone in on this. So you guys are offering this personalized broker service. This is incredible. You can actually pick up the phone and talk to somebody, which is basically impossible to do in any business these days. But can you hone in and explain on the institutional custody aspect of your platform?
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, that's one of our cornerstones as a business, is making sure that the custody and risk side of things is at the top of our priority list. So in terms of how our custody works, unlike exchanges or, unfortunately, I was a part of FTX where I had assets on the platform and you thought your assets were safe, but actually they weren't and they were being commingled. That's not the case at all with Caleb & Brown. So we've partnered with an institutional custody provider called Fireblocks, which essentially provide institutional cold storage solutions for all of our customers. So how it essentially works is if someone from the Zach Rector community signs up with us, they buy some XRP, that'll actually sit in their own separate vault. And then say they decide to buy Bitcoin or whatever asset, that'll be a separate vault to the XRP that's held with us. And that will just sit in cold storage. It's not touched by CMB at all. We don't charge a fee for custody as well. So it just sits in cold storage. And it's just there until the client either wants to trade it or withdraw it, whatever they want to do. So at the end of the day, their assets are held in a really safe manner, but in a way that's accessible to them if they need to make a trade. And it's, at the end of the day, you don't need to take our word for it. It's all verifiable on chain. So you can actually see, okay, the wallet address that you get, where are my assets going to, where are they currently being stored? So in our opinion, that's something that, we've been with Fireblocks for many years now. It's a really safe custodial solution, and one that we think is really beneficial for our clients.
And there's no minimum on this. If you have $1,000 to put into XRP, you can still get that level of security?
Correct. So there is a minimum trade amount within the platform if you were to wanting to execute a trade. But if you, for example, had $1,000 of XRP sitting on a MetaMask wallet or whatever wallet that you use and wanted to move it over to Caleb Brown, you could do that. You could just hold your assets with us with no obligation to trade, and it would sit in cold storage. And again, you would not be charged for that. There's no custody fee to hold your assets with us.
Yeah. I noticed in your background there, Jim, that the train just went by. So we did just get confirmation that the train has left the station. Guys, you better get on board here. No, this is great. So, and let's speak to the fees some more too. So there's no fee to onboard. There's no fee to move over. You basically are only paying when you do trade, and it's a flat fee. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So similar to, as I mentioned before, around, the meet the team, we're all about transparency, not only in our business, but also our fee structure. So we just charge on a buy, sell, or swap 3.5%. And that's the only fee that will ever be charged. So there's no custody fees. There's no fee to actually create an account. There's no fees to call your broker. So as you mentioned, if you need to call your broker for whatever reason 5 times a day, you can do that. And so we don't charge any hidden costs. So a lot of the time, things like spread and slippage will be where a lot of other platforms make their actual money. Right. And they're unfortunately not very present for a lot of consumers, especially people new to the space. So we don't charge any of that. And more importantly, at the end of the day as well, we don't charge any withdrawal fees or limits. So when it comes time to actually exit, especially if you're someone that has size, say you have a big portion of, 6 figures of XRP, a lot of the other platforms will actually either charge you a fee, and they'll actually make you withdraw that to a bank account at lesser rates. And you'd have to batch your withdrawals over a period of, say, 7 days. Whereas with us, you can get that transaction done. It'll be partnered with a bank, and it'll go through that day, and there'll be no fees or limits on the amount that you want to get into your bank account, which in my opinion is really important and something that a lot of people in the crypto space don't actually think about. I mean, I'm guilty of it. When it comes time to potentially exit the market, okay, how do I actually do that in a way that's most beneficial for me? I think that's where CMB definitely is a big value add.
So basically same day withdrawals, is there any sort of limit on that?
No limit on the withdrawals.
No limit.
So
okay.
we'll get that facilitated and done.
Yeah. Now, a lot of folks want to put their digital assets into different legal entities like LLCs, trusts, you name it. And so can you explain how that would work on your guys' platform and how you facilitate that?
Absolutely. So yeah, we offer the opportunity to either just trade as an individual, or you can set up a trust with us, a self-directed IRA, a 401k, and be able to trade through that entity as well. So how that essentially would work is, and I can speak to personal experience, I have an individual Caleb Brown account where I invest and buy crypto assets. Sometimes I maybe play with the more riskier meme coins, as we mentioned before, but that's done on an individual basis just for me. But then I also have a family trust that's set up for my family, but obviously they want exposure to crypto as well. We see it as a very valuable asset class. So I'll invest and have an account that's just my family trust. And then I can also invest in more safer assets or major assets or whatever I want to do. So as a potential customer, you can actually sign up as an entity account. And if you would like, you can still have your individual account as well. So it allows you to invest in both. And the entity, I guess it speaks to just our flexibility as an organization to allow you to do that. If you're trading as an entity and want to hold assets in crypto through your own personal business account, you can do that through us.
And so you guys have the resources and the manpower available to set up those trusts for clients. So if I'm someone who's approaching you guys and I haven't set this up yet, you guys can help with that?
No, unfortunately, we can't actually set up the trust for you yourself. You have to go through a certified accountant. But once you have those documentations, we can actually then process and onboard that organization. Yeah.
I
I wish we
misunderstood.
could
I
do
was
that.
like,
Maybe that'll be something we could do in the future.
yeah, I was like, man, what do you guys got, an estate planner on staff too? You guys are doing it all, you know? So, okay, maybe down the road, but for now, but if somebody does have it set up, it's not a problem. They can still have an individual account too. And once again, the fact that most platforms, guys, are only going to give you institutional grade custody and access to that if you're over 100,000, or even a lot of them are over 1 million, right? Wouldn't you say, Jim?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would say the benefit of this is that it's like you get the institutional grade upside of Caleb and Brown, but the accessibility of someone that isn't an institutional trader. Like at the end of the day, we want to provide a top tier service to the everyday folk in crypto, because at the end of the day, that's what we deserve, right? Like we come into this space and it's so difficult to understand how to buy or sell, but you also just don't really have any customer support or a personalized service. So at the end of the day, this is something that we believe should be a mainstay within the crypto space. And it's why this business has, been around for so long and worked.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just tell the audience, I've been very open about my plan. I am going to sell some XRP this bull run, anticipating some higher price targets. There'll be a nice level for me to take a little bit of profit. And my plan is to just send you guys a bag of XRP, hop on the phone with my broker or just set it up on the platform. You're in full control. But for those that want to just do it all from the phone, you can. But the plan is to just send you guys a little bag of XRP and say, hey, here are the targets, and then let you guys get to work. And that is one of the next questions that I wanted to ask is, during these bull runs, and in particular for XRP, we see that these exchanges really struggle to find liquidity and handle the XRP pump. And so I wanted to hone in on how you guys source liquidity for your exchange and your clients during these times of extreme volatility.
Yeah, it's a great question. So how I would first answer it is we're not a market maker, which means that we have access to a whole range of OTC desks, other liquidity pools, DEX, which means that we can source liquidity from a whole range of areas. As a business, we're quite operationally mature now. As I mentioned, we've been through many bear cycles and then also many bull cycles. So we know where to get liquidity from and be able to offer deeper liquidity for customers. At the end of the day, especially for something like XRP, it's one of the largest assets we hold for our customers. We have a big XRP community and audience, so we know the best places in order to provide that liquidity. But as I mentioned, our operations team is incredibly mature. As a business, we've gone through these market cycles before, and we've never had issues for certain assets, especially like XRP. But we're always looking for new partnerships and new OTC desks to partner with to provide even deeper liquidity. But I think our ability in terms of not being a market maker is really important, because it means that if for whatever reason one source of liquidity is really drying up because of there's significant demand in it, we have a whole range and plethora of other avenues that we can access in order to get the best rates possible for our clients. I mean, that's especially important not only for big assets like XRP, where there's a lot of supply in the market, but definitely for more your illiquid assets and more so sort of the memes that we were speaking about before. If you're someone that's wanting to get out of position at size, it's really important that you can work with a platform like ours where we can either trade slice the deal, but also get the sufficient liquidity so you're not going to incur a significant amount of slippage that unfortunately does happen on other platforms.
Yeah. For example, could we speak of the 2021 bull run when XRP was up at like $2 for a brief moment in time? It didn't stay up there very long. How well were you able to execute sell orders for your clients at that time?
Yeah, no hitches at all. So like even through those times, as I mentioned, XRP specifically, I know this is quite an XRP focused community. A lot of our clients are XRP holders and very much big believers in XRP. So we've always had sufficient liquidity, especially for XRP. And I'm confident in saying that this bull run will be exactly the same, which is especially important as well for things like withdrawals, where other platforms, you're starting to see limits get placed on them and stuff like that for certain assets like XRP.
Yeah.
We're confident as a business that we're operationally mature enough to be able to handle those trade requests.
Yeah. Now, if you guys heard him mention, he talked about the DEX on the XRP ledger, which, funny enough, most of the space doesn't even know that we have a DEX. We actually just got listed on DEX Screener, what was that, yesterday? So we're just now getting exposure to the rest of the crypto space that didn't know we have NFTs and AMM, a DEX, all built in. And of course, now we have memes too. So now we are getting exposure to that, but Caleb and Brown is familiar with the XRP ledger as big XRP holders themselves, and folks that understand how to access this DEX. So can you speak to your guys' ability to facilitate and manage a client's access to the DEX and the different products that we could use the DEX for, like the AMM? We have on-chain lending is in the pipeline for amendments. This is going to open up DeFi. So basically, can you guys manage and facilitate DeFi, AMMs, and other aspects of the DEX for the clients as well?
Yeah, so at this stage, we haven't currently played within the DeFi space. Obviously, there's a lot of demand from it for our clients. And like, I'm the same. I love using DeFi. I mean, I use it all the time on ETH, but it's great to see, the XRP ledger start to play in that space, because I think it's a big part of the ethos of crypto. What I would say is that we're always open to building new things for our clients, especially when there's big demand. So, the XRP ledger and being able to use things, as you mentioned, like AMM, even staking is something that's come up quite a lot. We'll never rule out building out that ability to do that in the platform. At this stage, we've been just mostly spot trading, just because that's what's been most requested, and also from a regulatory and legal perspective, what makes most sense for us. But I think moving forward, I mean, it's such a new development, and there's going to be so many more things built within the XRP community throughout this bull run, that we're always open as a business. And I think that's, part of our ethos around building products that our customers want, that we'll have those, we'll try and develop those DeFi capabilities moving forward.
Yeah.
But as well, at the end of the day, if clients want to move their assets from us into those DeFi protocols and play around and do that, we can certainly, provide that opportunity for them. And then when the time comes to potentially, safe custody of those assets afterwards, that's obviously, we'll be there for that as well. But moving forward, DeFi is definitely an area that we have a lot of interest in, and we'll look to probably play in the future.
Yeah. And this is the same thing that I tell my audience, is that there's two main problems. One, we don't have DeFi yet, right? So everybody's very anxious for DeFi on the XRP ledger. It's coming. But the two main things is that it's hard to put up an asset like XRP that's incredibly volatile as collateral in DeFi. Because, right, if it gets cut in half price-wise, you could be getting margin called, you could be getting completely liquidated, right? Depending on the terms of that DeFi protocol. The other second problem that I run into is that I don't see many yield programs, many DeFi programs that I feel comfortable with as far as them generating a sustainable yield. Now, back in 2021, when we had the DeFi explosion, I was one of the unpopular guys who was calling out these as basically decentralized Ponzi schemes. And so the Time Wonderlands of the world that were offering 80,000% returns, I said that wasn't going to last. And sure enough, these imploded. What we're looking for, though, is the sustainable yield, 5 to 10% or within that range, right? Something around there. And so as that becomes available, you guys are going to adapt towards that. If you guys heard here, they've explained, Jim explained how they're already familiar with the XRP ledger. It's just a matter of this, basically these functionalities coming to the ledger, regulations and laws being put in place, and then we'll be able to get it going. Now, to that point, are you guys going to be listing RLUSD at all? Have any thoughts on that?
There's probably a high likelihood that we will list RLUSD. As I mentioned, a lot of our clients are XRP, holders and fans of the token, and that's been requested quite significantly. So I can't say, yes or no discreetly on this call, but it's definitely one that we're obviously very much across, and we'll look to list it if it makes sense. I think back to the point around DeFi, you're exactly right. At the end of the day, DeFi is a more complex way to invest and use your crypto. Yes, we all want to earn a yield, but you want to make sure that you're well educated in what you're doing, and that at the end of the day, the right guardrails and protections are in place, as you mentioned. So at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, we're all about consumer protection. So if we were to implement something like that, we'd need to make sure that at the end of the day, the consumer is well looked after, and that they're not going to lose all their money or something could go wrong. But certainly RLUSD is an asset that we'll look to list once it's available, for sure.
Right. Now, so it was Bitwise today that filed their 10 crypto index ETF, and this product includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Cardano, AVAX, Link, Bitcoin Cash, Uniswap, and DOT. So it includes 10 cryptos in this ETF product. And I've noticed that we've seen more of these ETFs get filed, these basket ETFs. And so I asked you if you have any. It sounds like you guys don't right now, but maybe down the road, that might be something that you guys consider. Like you said, you're willing to tailor and customize different product offerings for your clients. So this is something that you guys may consider down the road?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, like it gets back to the point that we spoke about before around me being the intermediary between your community and what we build here. If that's something that clients really want and request, we have the flexibility, we have the product team. You can see our dev team on the website to actually build functionality and products like that. Obviously, with all these ETFs and the legitimacy that's coming to the space, it brings a lot of innovation, which is exciting. So yes, we don't offer it today, but would never rule out offering a certain product for customers if that's what they want. If they want a basket of goods, a basket of different crypto within their portfolio, that's something that we'll look to build. And yeah, something we can definitely explore in the future as this space becomes more mature.
Now, I see that you guys do have some memes listed on the platform right now. I saw Peanut the Squirrel and a couple others. This is not financial advice or an endorsement of said meme coins, but hey, you got to give the people what they want. And so on that point, do you guys have any plans to launch or bring the XRP Ledger memes or any additional tokens there? And what is kind of the metrics that you're looking for? If you can speak to that as to far as how projects get listed on your platform.
Yeah, what I would say is on a token by token basis. So what maybe gets listed because of one factor isn't necessarily going to get listed on another, because there's a whole range of factors that we'll consider. And some of them I probably can't reveal explicitly on this call, but a lot of
You
it
just
is
like the
tied
peanut
around.
meme, huh? That was your favorite meme. So you specifically called out that one, didn't you?
I'm not a holder of peanut. I wish I was. I feel like I'm maybe missed out on that one. But no, there's a lot of factors that will go into it. Obviously, the biggest one is how much liquidity is actually in the market for it. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to list something and then all of a sudden one of our clients is a big holder of it, but we can't sufficiently get the trade executed for them, or not in a way that doesn't completely move the market. So that's one of the biggest ones. There actually needs to be liquidity for it in the space. But there's a whole range of other factors. What is the actual asset? Is it just a meme, or is there some sort of utility behind it? Who's a part of the team? Is it a one-person team? Is it a random dev like Peanut that's actually sold their allocation? In some ways, that's actually better if it's more dispersed, right? Are the founders doxed? What is the brand risk and the reputation risk for us to list something that then, if it turns into a rug pull, at the end of the day, it hurts our clients? So there's a whole range of factors that will go into it that our operations team will do their due diligence on. But as I've mentioned throughout, like we're incredibly flexible in terms of the service we provide to our customers. So if for whatever reason the Zach Rector community, there's a massive meme that's going off in the XRP space and everyone wants Caleb and Brown to list it, we'll never say no to going through that due diligence process and doing our research and potentially listing it, right? Like we'll never say no to that. It just depends on whether it makes sense and is safe for us to list it over a long period of time. But as you mentioned, like we've now become, I wouldn't say more flexible, but we're more open now to particular memes when it makes sense and when it's safe enough for our customers. And that, the meme coin space is what everyone's talking about right now, right? So we have to be adaptable as a business, as everyone does have to be in the crypto space. So we'll never rule out a particular meme. But yeah, as I mentioned, it is on a token by token basis.
Yeah, yeah. And I do want to make sure everybody knows, most of my audience does, I will not be launching a meme token. I know some people would like to see that, but that is not going to happen, not from me. So please be wary of that. Any other products or services that you guys have in the pipeline? Any other secrets you can tell us about what could be in the works for Caleb and Brown?
Yeah, I was wondering whether I should reveal this. I feel like my CTO might kill me if I do, but I'll subtly mention a bit of an announcement on here that we've been in the process of building a mobile app for quite a long period of time, and we're in the final stages of having it released. So hopefully at the end of this year, I would say most likely it'll get released before the end of this year. We'll actually have a Caleb Brown mobile app on the App Store, which is incredibly exciting. As I mentioned, it just gives a lot more flexibility for customers to actually invest. Right now, they do it through a web browser, but they'll actually have the functionality to do it on the mobile, which will be really exciting. And one of the cool features about it is you'll actually have a live chat opportunity to be able to DM and message your own broker,
Wow.
which is really exciting. So if for whatever reason there's something that requires urgent action from the broker, you'll actually be able to message them on the Caleb and Brown mobile app as well. So that's a very exciting feature. I can't wait for it to be released, and I'm sure everyone in the community will be excited to be able to invest through their mobile app as well.
Wow, you heard it here first, guys. Breaking news: we got the mobile app coming, which is key. I did have to buy. I was just in LA last week for the XRP documentary screening, and I did have to buy the in-flight Wi-Fi on the way home so that I could trade my XRP memes. Just in case they took off while I was in midair,
Cool.
30,000 feet up in the air. There, I got my XRP memes, and I'm looking at the charts. So I'll be happy to do the same thing with your guys' mobile app too, and obviously you have access through the browser too. But I did notice that that you didn't have that available when I first signed up, and so I know many people will be looking forward to that. That is incredible. Now, Jim, if there's anything else that I missed as far as anything that we can mention from Caleb and Brown before, I want to get your sentiment on kind of the overall market too. But is there anything that I missed mentioning about your guys' product and services?
No, I think maybe the few things I've mentioned, and maybe there may be confusion around, yes, we're an Australian entity, but we operate in practically every state within the US. And I'd say most of our client base is US based, and we have employees based in the US as well. So at the end of the day, if there's hesitancy around us operating out of Australia, the business and the operations in terms of investing are still seamless for US investors particularly. And the other thing I would just mention is that it's completely free to create an account with Caleb Brown and start speaking to a broker today. So it's not like you're required to move funds over to us before you get a broker, or do a minimum trade before you get access to a broker. So if you're and you're not quite sure about the service, give it a try is all I would say. It's really resonated with a lot of people in the XRP space, but there's no obligation or requirement for you to have to pay anything upfront to try the service. So I think that's all I would say, is that if you're not quite sure about us, do your due diligence on us, check our website out, do your research, but also you can create an account for free and try the platform and speak to a broker as well. So yeah, that's all I would say.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm excited to get set up with you guys for this bull run and just to establish a relationship going forward. I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, people that can bring opportunities like institutional custody to the folks that wouldn't be serviced otherwise. That's the whole ethos of this blockchain space, right? Is to bank the underbanked, serve the underbanked and the unbanked. And so, providing institutional grade custody, you guys are in that effort. I really do commend it. And so I'm excited to get set up. I'm going to put the link at the very top of the description. But before we go, Jim, I do want to get just kind of your thoughts on this, shift, right? We, not to get political, obviously, but in America, we've had a breath of fresh air, electing over 200 pro crypto candidates. And I don't know if you saw this, but Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple actually donated another $25 million to Fairshake, which has now set up this super PAC with over $100 million to go to work with in the midterms in 2026. So whether you're left, right, whatever you're into, we're going pro crypto. And so your thoughts as you watch from Australia, kind of on the impact that this election has had on crypto and what you're excited for most this bull run.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, yes, we're from Australia, but I can tell you how intently we were watching the election and the US politics. It was obviously a very exciting time for us as a business, but also just as a crypto holder as well, to see what's happening. And that's the best point that I think you mentioned before around the actual councilmen that have now come on, the elected members that are pro crypto. Yes, Trump was pro crypto, and obviously he's now going to drive it forward, but he's actually put his money where his mouth is in terms of who is now actually elected in terms of members. So I'm incredibly bullish moving forward that we're actually going to get clarity in terms of laws and regulations. Gone are the days, hopefully, where XRP continues to get hunted by the SEC in terms of, legal issues and ramifications as well. Because at the end of the day, as an industry, we need that clarity to be able to prosper. and to be able to build further use cases that make sense. So I think we're starting to see it more and more with the introduction of ETFs. Obviously now the political, as you mentioned, both sides of the political spectrums are pretty pro crypto now, kind of have to be. So I'm really excited in terms of the institutional innovation that will come from this new wave of support. And I think ultimately the thing I'm most excited about is in any bull run, you start to see more funding, you start to see more interest, you start to see the top talent come into the space. So I'm ultimately really excited to see, well, what are the narratives, what are the use cases that get built out of this 2025 bull run that weren't around in 2021? I think that's what's most exciting because that's what spurs the space forward. And then obviously, I think the biggest thing is obviously all of our holdings increase, and that's a great time as well. But for our clients, the ones that have been patient throughout the bear market, or maybe they invest at the top of last bull run, actually start to see them be rewarded for that patience is something is great for our business, and it's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's feeling very good. I never thought that I'd be this happy to see XRP just at $1.50, but this is incredible. And just how quickly the shift arrived, right? After the election this past month, we're only a few weeks in. Nothing's actually been implemented from a policy standpoint, but we just already feel like we're free now.
Momentum's
right?
there.
And so, it's just incredible to see at this point, it's just become so evident for so many in the community that they better get a plan together. They need to get set up on exchanges like yours, set up for this bull run. So like Jim mentioned, it's completely free. You're only going to pay when you actually trade and conduct those trades. You will pay your flat fee. Other than that, it's free to get set up. It's free to move it over. Lots of resources available from Caleb and Brown, and they're continuing to adapt, evolve, and grow with this blockchain space too. So they're going to be a partner that I'm going to keep close to me. I would really recommend you guys take a look at them for yourselves. The link will be at the top of the description of this video. Jim, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and I'm going to see you in XRP Las Vegas coming up this next year in May, and we're going to have a lot of fun, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, firstly, Zach, as you mentioned, totally. I totally agree with everything you said. We're so happy and thrilled to be a partner of the Zach Rector community, and we really look forward to continuing to work with you. And I can't fully confirm it yet, but I'm certain there'll be a big portion of us that will be in XRP Vegas next year. I know that Jake will likely be there, and I'll likely be there as well, which would be a really great opportunity for you and I to connect in person, but also everyone else in the Zach Rector community that may be there as well. So thanks for having me. If there are any questions at all from people that were listening to this video that maybe we didn't go through over today, you can contact me personally on my Twitter, or you can send me an email at jim.bazzani@calebandbrown.com, and I'll be happy to answer your questions as well. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks again, Jim. Like I said, I've heard nothing but positive things, and I expect, we're going to get incredible service. This is going to be an incredible bull run. We're going to have a lot of fun working together, and thank you again for servicing my community. On the way out, everyone, if you could like this video, help us out by sharing it out far and wide. We need to get more awareness for Caleb and Brown, an exchange that I think everybody should be considering. And I will be myself. Everything will be linked up down below. And I appreciate everybody for stopping by. We will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.